Have you ever just stood outside on a clear night, looked up at the sky, and just felt completely in awe? It's this incredible, sparkling canvas stretched out above us. Well, today, we're going to go on a little cosmic journey to figure out our own place in that huge, amazing picture. So, let's get started.
It all starts with a really simple question, something you've probably noticed yourself. You look up, and some of those lights are flickering and twinkling, while others just have this really solid, steady glow. And that's a great question, right? Turns out the answer tells us a ton about what we're actually looking at up there.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start right here with what we can see from our own backyard. Then we'll zoom out to meet the cosmic neighbors. After that, we'll take a closer look at our own planet before zooming all the way out to see the biggest picture possible.
Okay, so first things first. Our big journey begins with a simple act, just looking up. That night sky is really the first chapter in this whole amazing story.
So what do we call all that stuff up there? Well, the official term is celestial bodies. It's basically a catch-all name for everything in the sky. The sun that gives us our daylight, the moon that lights up our night, and every single one of those other shining dots.
And right here, this is the answer to that big question about twinkling. So here's the deal. Stars are like these gigantic fiery engines. They're making their own heat and light. But because they're so incredibly far away, all that light reaches us as a single tiny point. As that pinprick of light travels through Earth's atmosphere, it gets jostled around, which makes it look like it's twinkling. Planets are a totally different story. They're way, way closer to us, and they don't make any light of their own. They just reflect light from our sun. And because they're closer, they look like tiny little disks instead of just points of light. So that disk shape helps average out the atmospheric wobbles, giving them that nice, steady glow. Pretty cool, huh?
For thousands of years, people have looked at those twinkling stars and connected the dots, making pictures in the sky. It's like a giant cosmic game of connect the dots. We call these patterns constellations. And one of the most famous ones you can probably find is Ursa Major, which is also known as the Big Bear.
And this is where it gets super practical. Constellations weren't just bedtime stories. They were essential tools. For ancient sailors and travelers, they were like a GPS. You could use a part of Ursa Major, called the Saptarishi, to point you directly to the pole star. And that star, the North Star, is special because it always points north. It was basically a natural, built-in compass in the sky.
All right, so we've got stars, we've got planets, but how do they all fit together? Let's zoom out a little bit from our night sky and take a look at our local neighborhood.
Welcome to the solar system. The easiest way to think about it is like a giant family. And the head of that family, the one holding everything together, that's the sun. Its massive gravitational pull is what keeps all 8 planets, all their moons, and a bunch of other space junk in line. Now, the planets aren't just wandering around aimlessly. As you can see here, the sun's gravity pulls them into these huge, predictable paths. And these paths aren't perfect circles, they're more like slightly stretched out ovals. We call these cosmic racetracks orbits. Okay, trying to remember all 8 planets in order from the sun can be a little tricky, right? Well, here's a fantastic little mnemonic device to help you out. My very efficient mother just served us nuts. That gives you Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Super helpful. Now this is where the scale of our solar system just gets wild. Look at these numbers. Mercury, the closest planet, zips around the sun in just 88 days. We all know Earth takes about 365. But then you get out to Jupiter, and suddenly it takes almost 12 times years for one trip. And Neptune? 164 years to go around the sun just once? That is just incredible.
So after that grand tour of the solar system, let's come back home. Let's zoom right back in on our little blue marble, the one place in this whole giant system that we know is bursting with life.
So what's the secret sauce? Why Earth? Well, it seems to be this perfect, just right recipe. We're in what scientists call the Goldilocks zone. Not too hot like Venus, not too cold like Mars. We've got oceans of liquid water and a protective atmosphere. And crucially, that atmosphere has the oxygen we all need to breathe.
And the source material just says it perfectly. It's not just a nice place to hang out. It's genuinely unique in our cosmic family. As far as we know, this perfect combination for life just doesn't exist anywhere else nearby.
Of course, we don't make this journey around the sun alone. We've got a constant companion, a celestial buddy that orbits us while we orbit the sun. And that's our one and only natural satellite, the moon.
Okay, so to give you a sense of scale, get this. The moon is about 384,000 kilometers away. Now, that sounds like a really long way, and it is. But just hold that number in your head for a second.
Because our nearest star, the Sun, is 150 million kilometers away. See the difference? That's not just a bigger number, that's a whole different league. It really shows you just how powerful the Sun must be to control everything in our solar system from so far away.
So you might think the story ends with the sun and the 8 big planets, but nope. There is a ton of other stuff floating around out there. Let's check it out.
So if you travel out past Mars, but before you get to Jupiter, you'll run into a huge ring of space rocks. This is the asteroid belt. One of the coolest theories is that these asteroids are basically the leftovers of a planet that either got smashed to bits or just never fully formed billions of years ago.
And have you ever made a wish on a shooting star? Well, what you're actually seeing is a meteoroid. It's a small piece of rock or dust that gets pulled into Earth's gravity. When it hits our atmosphere at insane speeds, the friction makes it heat up and burn, creating that beautiful, quick streak of light across the sky. It's like a tiny cosmic firework.
Okay, take a deep breath. We've seen our planet, we've seen our solar system, but we're about to take the biggest step back of them all. This is the final zoom out.
Think about everything we've talked about so far. The Sun, Earth, Jupiter, all the planets, all the asteroids. That entire setup is just one tiny, tiny speck inside our home galaxy, the Milky Way. It's this enormous, swirling collection of billions, with a B, of other stars. I love that in ancient India, it was imagined as a river of light in the sky, the Akash Ganga. It's just a beautiful way to picture it.
And just when you think it can't possibly get any bigger, it does. Our entire galaxy, the vast and beautiful Milky Way, is just one of millions, maybe even billions of other galaxies out there. All of them stretching out in every direction as far as we can possibly see. That is the universe.
So that brings us all the way back here, to us. You are on a planet that's orbiting a star in a solar system that's tucked away in a tiny corner of a galaxy, which is just one of countless others in the universe. It's pretty humbling when you think about it, right? So I'll leave you with that final, powerful question from our source. How do you fit in the picture?